Well, hello everyone. Here to show you that the email creations that you say is colorings as so far as talking about is like for the study, research, homework. You say you still got the notes, of course, from that that a written manual. It's like say coloring that I went ahead and did, but you see right here is that I went ahead and talked about right here is like for email creations. It talking about you have right here is for first and last name, and of course with the DOB it's like for date of birth and address, and of course update, and of course with it's a contact company username and password, and of course with security questions it is. And most of us would probably think about is like they would maybe like to have an email address or email account it is, and knowing about exactly about where to start it is, and for the most part it's just knowing about that yeah, anybody who's the age of 50 or over, 65 or older would even want to spend time on maybe a smartwatch or anything like that, anything related to PCs or iPhone 5 or anything like that, where they can have applications. It is, I guess, with most of the time with most stores, it is most places that they have say, I guess they call them apps. You say amps. It is that applications that you can download and install the application, and it is complete the information. You say online it is, and of course that don't even have the computer on to where I can explain for whatever I would assume and what I know about how to set up all the applications. And just thinking about this, like if I were to explain them on paper, may not match, for whatever that you may see on, like, what you call, for most of us, if we're familiar with like other email providers, it's like users, it's like if it's on Microsoft Office or whatever. But basically that one thing I know I'm pretty familiar with is talking about is like if you provide if you wanted to create an email address, it's just knowing about that. Yeah, for whatever. I guess it goes by a default. See a default, say email. A default user say email. I guess it's like it'll be like a program that may more likely is pre-installed on your computer or is like on your device that you're using. And then of course is too, they have which most of us probably think about, it's like they have it's like the the user license agreement. A lot of times it's like you have it's like for user license agreement, and then and you also have, it's like all that other stuff that they want you to say click accept, and it's like knowing about if I follow those the instructions for the use of the software and then the program it is. And most people probably think about it, it's like how do you create one, and of course I've had my email for quite a long time, but with most people that they could probably think about, it's like if you were to call the company or whatever, then there would be one that would be provided to you, but more likely they could probably say that there's so many choices, is knowing about if you were to have one that where you can have like a little photo identification, you say image of yourself on email folder it is. But a lot of that stuff on the computer, which I really don't even know all how they work, it's just, but the most important part is that they could probably say about is like that that to make sure that you have all the installations, and then of course it's like with your passwords and your usernames and passwords, and then security questions, as they say, it's they are case sensitive, and they should not be given out for any purpose it is. And most of the time that I was thinking that that they would have like if you were to that they would do like a something like this, to where that they would draw, like, see here, like A, A, B, see, A, B, and Q right here, and then they would do like what you call like a puzzle right here, and then they would have you type in, it's like what you see right there in the puzzle it is. And they if you companies, online companies that may ask you maybe a trivia question that more likely it's like, at what year did the very first Apple product come out? And we're talking about, from Macintosh, and of course, that, ACC Honey, ACP or Q 4.0 Honey or anything like that. At what year did that come out or anything like that they maybe, it's like, have you ask you a question and then you type in an answer, whatever it is. But so far with email, it is just knowing about that, more likely it would take you less than maybe 20 or so minutes just to set up an email, and more likely that they may have you type in, the activation, you say, just to activate, activation, activate or anything, the activation. You say that more likely they would be like a serial, a code number or something like that they would give to you, and type it in, and of course it would activate whatever account it is. And but anyway, before I go into etc. about key codes and all this other stuff, that more likely they could probably say that really that it's not really all necessary. The basic steps, of course, is knowing about that if you really want to create an email, is to go through the setup menus, of course, is to go to the page it is, and knowing about who whatever you select, for if it's at Yahoo or Google or whatever that you want the email service to be by. And then on the other hand too, that knowing about, it's like the things are case sensitive, and it's like that, that they don't give out any information to anybody else. And but on the other hand too, that knowing about that, that was about email creations, and besides email address, by the time you start working it, and then that there may be some people who do use it, and then just knowing about that, that if the site could be down or whatever you call it, or the fact about it keeps telling me that the page cannot be displayed or whatever. And but most people, they could probably think about is that if they were to have an email, then they don't have all the updated programs that they need just to use it, and then more likely they could probably think about that, hey, it's not working. It's especially if I remember that a lot of times it's like with the, if I were to be doing if I were say I don't know if there's Mark's then Mark Sella, Marcellian, I can say maybe Marcellian software or whatever you call it. It's like for the the type of software programs that most of us are familiar with. If it's Rondell or anything like that, Rondiel or something like that, that you could probably think about that they say that it's required just to run this email, or for you to pull up documents and stuff like that, online documents, PDF files. I know with PDF files most of the time, PDF files, if it's a job or whatever you call it, that more likely that they say that with PDF files, they probably say that zip files. I think you're familiar with zip files, or any other type of files that more likely would inquire an email, file attachment. It is see file attachments. Anyway, list goes on, right? But before we get into the fact about how how we can fry our eggs, right side up or whatever you call it, over email or anything. You'll fry our eggs, or what you call, make what you call, it's like home banana, custom made banana bread, maybe the perfect slice, over the email address. And it's like sharing your photos about your cooking recipes, whatever it is, maybe including the fact about, the temperature setting that needs to be done. It's like going about, it's like click the download and save to a file. It's like if you want it saved in My Files or My Documents or the C file, or the cooking send intro recipe file or anything like that, you could probably think about. It's like you have right here is the mouse cursor right here. A lot of times people probably say, how do you know if the screen is frozen or not? And a lot of times it would be like what you call like an icon, kind of like this. to where it would show that like if the downloading would still, we're still, you know, in process, or if it's you know, or if the screen had froze. And a lot of times that they say that there's usually a reset. You know, what I usually do is you know, for reset, a reset button. That usually what I do is I have a, you know, the surge protector. I push that button on the surge protector, resets, you know, not only the computer but then of course the printer and everything itself. But other than that, it's talk about it's like so far as my own, what you say if you say for email creations, of course with the, you know, a written manual. It's talking about, it's like, you know, have you got a written manual for this thing? But other than that, it's talking about, it's like with the mouse, and talking about one thing that I do use for the computer, of course, is the webcam. And more likely that people probably think about is like, hey, you know, with the usernames and passwords, you know, maybe they won't be so difficult. Maybe the fact about everything just seems like everything is so totally different. It's like compared to writing with one of these pens and then working the mouse and the controls, like then the next thing you know, they're gonna have it to where you put your pinky right here, and then they're gonna have you just move just a little bit, and then the mouse moves all over the place or whatever. But other than that, you have to put the pinky right there, and then go ahead and like the pinky, the most, I guess to say, the most sensitive finger on your hand. It's talking about, it's like, you know, highlight PDF and drag and drop it right here, highlight the F and drag and drop it right here, and then just knowing about how to, you know, click username and password, like knowing about, yeah, that the thing is, like, you know, with my pinky, is knowing about that, yeah, that between my pinky and my thumb, it's like, you know, a thumb up, it's like you with the pinky right here. It's like knowing about that, hey, you know, I tell you one thing, you know, I don't even use my own pinky. You know, like, yeah, a lot of times, you know, I don't even use my own pinky, you know, just to point. If there's a product in the store that I want, it's like something that begins with a C or anything like that, highlight, you know, a lot of times I'm like, I don't even use my pinky just to do that. I usually use this finger right here. A lot of people, I say, knowing about, it's like with the finger right here, this finger right here, or if it's you know, this finger right here, like with the letter L, it is talking about with letter L, is knowing about, yeah, working the mouse controls with this thing right here, between this and then this, you know, if it's reversed, it is. It's like L and L. But on your hand too, knowing about between up and left. Up and left. It's talking about, yeah, you put your pinky right here, and then you move, say, like up and left. But other than that, it's talking about, it's like so far with, you know, an email creations color.